Hi, everybody. Before we get to another great interview, the Two Opinionated podcast could really use your help. And it's easy, it's free. IMDb, which is the entertainment database, imdb.com, named us a top 100 podcast. We came in at number 82. That's a big deal because there's 15 million podcasts and growing. So to be named to anybody's top 100 list, pretty big deal for us. And the way you can help is to go to imdb.com, look up the Two Opinionated podcast, and that's it. Just bringing our page up. That traffic really helps us out. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. All we ask is that you subscribe. It's also free, but that really helps us to attract these amazing guests that we keep bringing on the program. And that's it. Two easy ways for you to support us, and we would really appreciate the help. Now let's get to that interview. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Two Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I've got comedian, writer, actor Daniel Stolfi with me. So welcome, Daniel.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
I'm pretty excited to talk to you. Your comedy is very amusing to me. I have laughed out loud many times. I've also felt a little uncomfortable at times, but most of it's been laughter.
I'll do that. Yeah, it could be a bit uncomfortable. Yeah.
A little's okay.
Yeah.
A little bit's okay.
Exactly.
It doesn't get awkward till it goes on for a real long stretch.
That's right. And then you have to go really long just to kind of
really long. Yeah.
You make the awkwardness pay off.
In there.
Yeah.
So Daniel, let's start this way because I know we've got a new show to talk about. We've got a lot of ground to cover, but let's start this way. Tell me a little bit about what got you into comedy, what got you interested in the entertainment business. Those are both difficult professions to go into. What made you choose those?
Okay, well, from a very young age, I loved making people laugh. Like it was just like this thing that, like a lot of people just called me weird. They were like, but then one day somebody was like, "You're funny, like you're a funny person." And I was like, "Oh, I'm funny." Like I didn't really think about it, but and then I just loved that making people laugh. And I knew at a very early age that if I could do this for a living, then that's what I'd want to do. And when I saw comedians like, Jim Carrey and even Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean, and those people doing that kind of stuff for a living, I was like, oh, okay, I want to try this out.
Yeah.
But in order to appease my parents, to go to school, I decided to go to theater school because it sounded more like, it was
That's right.
It was,
it was more likely for them to accept that.
Yeah, because it's not like there wasn't like comedy university, you know what I mean? It was like, or comedy college. I mean, there was, but it was like, okay, so I'm a thespian, whatever. And I fell in love with theater, and I fell in love obviously with live performance. And then I kind of mashed the two together and was like, hey, like comedy and live performance obviously go hand in hand, but using these things that I learned in theater, I bring it into my comedy.
Yeah.
And then immediately after I graduated university, I joined Second City in Toronto. I joined a bunch of different sketch comedy troupes. I was doing stand-up every night, and it just kind of snowballed from
those
there.
type of, because I know in those there's some improv involved too. Does that type of comedy help with being a comedian?
Of course. I mean, doing all those classes and all those courses and like learning improvisation, it helps anytime you're on stage.
Yeah.
And you get off script maybe, and you're like, oh, where was I? But you can always kind of improvise around it and find different things. And as long as you keep kind of coming back to the same thread, you're in a good spot. But yeah, improvisation is a huge tool. Like improv's a great tool to have in your belt as a comedian, for sure.
Yeah. Well, so how long did it take your family to accept the fact that this was the profession you were going into? Most of the time, parents they're looking at your backup plan.
Well, exactly. They were constantly being like, you could be a teacher. Like this is a teachable, so you can teach theater kind of thing. No, but I think it was around like 25, 27, 28 years old, like before they were like, oh, this guy, well, once they saw me perform live, they were like, oh, he's got something.
There's something there.
There's something there. So, and the audience seems to be laughing, And they kind of were like, oh, they're laughing at, okay, yeah, they are. They're laughing with him. And so I think they really kind of saw that that's where I
Well,
belong,
do you remember the first time they saw you perform on stage?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. I was doing a theater play called The Seduction, and I was playing this like it was a Neil Simon play, yeah. And I was playing like this very womanizing like character, and it was hilarious. Like it was very funny. I mean, at the time too, it was like acceptable to play this guy kind of guy. But um, and I think they were just sort of like, oh wow, this he's got the audience like kind of in his hand here. Um, and I think they saw that there was something there for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're figuring out what you want to do. You're working on that. And
Hmm.
then your mid-20s, you ran into a little hiccup.
I did. Yeah.
Some would say a big hiccup, but
It was a pretty big
you
hiccup. Yeah.
talk about that a little
Yeah,
bit.
I
What
didn't want to
happened?
get into it. I didn't want to tell that part. I wanted to see if you were going to lead into that. But yeah, so I was diagnosed with cancer
Yeah.
at the age of 25. So I was going along doing comedy. I was getting approached by producers and different things like that, and I was doing really well, like for myself. I was living on my own. I was fully, supporting myself through acting.
At that age, I mean
Yeah,
that's pretty good because
yeah.
25 a lot of times we don't have it figured out yet.
That's right. And like, and I was making connections and all that kind of stuff. And on the day that I got a phone call from a new agency that wanted to represent me, I was going to the walk-in clinic because I had this like cold and this thing that I was like, I better get this checked out. Like it felt like I was like, oh, maybe it's pneumonia, it's probably
Yeah.
something like that. Going to the clinic, they rushed me through all these tests. And within 12 hours, a doctor comes in and is like, yeah, you have a giant grapefruit-sized tumor
Oh my
sitting on
God.
top of your heart, and
Terrifying.
it's likely lymphoma. Yeah, and I was 25 years old. I was like, what's lymphoma? Like I understood, a lump. I'm like, it's probably cancer, but he hasn't actually said that yet.
Right.
And then officially, he's like, it's cancer. I was like, oh man. And so my whole life just like changed within 12 hours. Like it was crazy. And then all of a sudden I had to move back home with my parents. I did 2 years of chemotherapy treatment every week. It was ruthless. It was very tough. And I kind of, I had to start over after that to try to kind of come back into the comedy scene.
How long was it before you were able to say get back up on stage?
It was the first 12 months of treatment were really tough. I couldn't like get out of bed. I couldn't do any of that kind of stuff. But I was kind of thinking in my head, I'm like, if I get healthy again, if I get through this, when I get through this, I want to create a show about this, right?
Yeah, of course.
And initially, though, in my mind, I was like, it's going to be ruthless. It's going to be all dramatic. It's going to be like, this is how awful cancer is. But then I was like, I'm a comedian, So how can I turn this like really negative situation into a positive one, right? How can I share this story that's palpable for people, that'll make them laugh, maybe make them cry, maybe, bring them on this roller coaster kind of journey. And when I started my maintenance chemotherapy, which was the last 10 months of treatment, I started to get some energy back. And
Oh,
I told my producing partner, who's now my wife, at the time, I want to do a show at the Second City in Toronto. And they had an 11 p.m. slot,
yep.
on May 29th, 2009, 2010. And no, 2009. And they were like, yeah, if you want that, go for it. So it was 11 o'clock. We sold out the place. The show was called Cancer Can't Dance Like This. And that show went on to tour the country, parts of North America for 10 years. And we
Yeah,
helped
it's
raise well
hilarious
over.
too. I mean, it does have its moments, but
Mm.
it's funny and it makes you look at the things I think a little bit differently.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's, I think with cancer, people with cancer, there's a certain dark sense of humor that sometimes you have. And I think someone else saying it kind of gives some permission to laugh a little bit at what we were going through. So yeah, they can feel a bit awkward or whatever, but at the same time, there's this release of laughter that I think really helps. So yeah,
Had you been? I'm assuming you had been working on that show the entire time.
I was basically like kind of the moment that I started going through treatment, I'm like, does anybody know like how awful this is? And like, and how crazy it was, right? Like it was, you're just thrown into a totally different world. And if you haven't gone through it, you wouldn't fully understand it. And so I was just sort of like, this would be something that I think people need to kind of hear about. Not that I would be the first person telling this story, but I wanted to tell it from my perspective. And and I think I did that effectively. And I think we really inspired a lot of people and gave hope to a lot of people. We raised a lot of money doing the
Yeah.
show. It won the Canadian Comedy Award for Best One Person Show. So like it had a lot of success, and it was such a great experience going from like city to city to city and just like inspiring people, hearing their stories and this, that, the other.
Well,
And
that's it. Everybody has either had cancer or knows somebody,
yeah,
close
yeah.
has had it. For us, my mother went through breast cancer at
Mm.
45. That was,
Wow.
32 years ago now.
Wow.
She's still with us, still
Wow.
doing really well. But
Congrats.
I
That's big.
remember, it's so devastating because it's like
Yeah.
one day everything's fine, the next day everything's different, and
Hmm.
you don't necessarily feel a ton different at that
Hmm.
point. You
Hmm.
might feel a little sick. You were feeling, but like with her case, she didn't really have any symptoms,
Oh,
and just
yeah.
got sick. And you have to, especially I'm thinking, she was 45, you're 25,
Yeah.
right in the
Yeah.
middle of getting started, and
Yeah.
you're in a profession where if you walk away, there's no guarantee that you get back to that level again. It's hard to get there once, let
Yeah.
alone
Tell me about
twice.
it. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
so
For sure.
I'm sure all of that's running through your head, and for
Hmm.
you to kind of turn that around fairly quickly to get where,
Hmm.
like, all right, I'm going to use it
Hmm.
and turn
Hmm.
it into something positive. I think that's impressive, and it's not easy to do.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, it wasn't easy to do, and initially I was just like, I'm going to do the show once just to kind of get it off my chest, and then I'll go back to like auditioning and just doing, other comedy that has nothing to do with cancer. But the response and people started to approach me and be like, hey, we want to book a space for you, want you to do the show, raise some money. So I was like, sure, you want to keep hearing this story, let's keep telling it,
Yeah.
and
Well, and you once the show was done, you wrote a book,
that's right. Yeah.
The Comedian versus Cancer,
Yeah. Yeah.
or Cancer versus the Comedian.
No, yeah, it's comedian versus cancer. I thought about that too. I was like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's me versus it. So
yeah. But I mean that just shows. I mean, obviously that's a life-changing experience, and
yeah.
but the positive aspects of it, it's also kind of giving you that career resurgence.
Yeah, it's become such a big part of who I am, and I still to this day, I mean, it's been 15 years, I'm cancer free 15 years, and I still go to conferences. I'm still an advocate for cancer patients. People who get diagnosed like now will reach out to me still. Like I'm very much there for the community, and like my book I think helped a lot of people as well. And it's going to always be a part of my life, and
Yeah,
I'm
for
okay
sure.
with that. I think in the
Well, we
beginning I
go through
was,
it with my mother every year when she
yeah,
gets her breast exam.
yeah,
She
yeah,
she gets into a panic, and I'm like, it's been 32 years,
yeah,
and
yeah,
she
but
still is miserable every time
yeah.
she has to go. She wanted me to tell you though that she loves your book.
Oh, thank you
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
much. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it was kind of funny because she got that on her own.
Oh, that's
Just
cool.
saw the book when it came out, and got that on her own. But yeah, I was like, hey, guess who I'm talking to?
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, yeah,
So before we talk about the show, I wanted to mention that you got to be on Kids in the Hall, which
yeah.
I would think as a comedian is kind of a big deal.
Oh, that was yeah, that was like a big check mark for sure, right? Working with Scott Thompson. I've worked with him a couple times now because I was on The Amazing Gail Pile, and he came on and did a guest spot on that show. And then yeah, I guess he invited me to come and be on Kids in the Hall. It was a very small part, but it was fun.
Yeah, yeah, Kids in the Hall, so hilarious. I was so happy when they came back.
Yeah,
I was like, never should have
yeah.
left.
I know, totally right. I mean, I think what happens though, sometimes the band gets too big and then they're like,
That's
we're gonna
right.
go do our own thing. And then they realize, they have all these bands now coming back together, New Kids on the Block and all those guys.
I always go when I've got somebody on the show, I always try to go through, what I remember seeing them on.
Hmm.
And I watch Kids in the Hall, so I know I've seen you, but I don't remember the episode.
Oh, it's
But
tiny.
I
Yeah,
do
yeah.
remember you playing a little part on the Titans.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm a comic book guy, so
That's cool.
I
Yeah,
do
yeah.
remember that one.
Yeah, yeah. I was the bouncer and I
Yeah.
was keeping them from getting in the bar. Didn't yeah, it was a fun like in those sets are awesome as an actor because they're big budget productions, right? And so
Yeah.
you really get to experience the full scale of those kinds of shows. It was really cool. That one was great.
Need to find you a sitcom.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I'm doing too many. I'm doing a lot of like I do a lot of like serious roles. I think I look like a cop. You know what I mean? I
You've
get a lot
got
of
that kind of
I get a
look.
lot
I'll
of
give you that.
police
Yeah.
officer kind of stuff. I get a lot of like yeah, bouncer, like any guys in uniform, like things like that.
I mean,
So
have you ever thought about trying to turn, your story into a sitcom? I
oh yeah,
think
yeah,
that would
yeah.
be
Oh yeah.
hilarious.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, yeah. No, we've definitely tried to push that boulder up the hill a few times, but I think what happens with cancer in general is a lot of people are trepidatious about approaching that subject matter because of how you know how much of a knife you kind of have to walk on, right? They say this razor's edge you're constantly walking on, and but I think if when the right opportunity comes, the right person comes along, I think it'll happen. I mean, there's a story
I don't know. It
there.
just seems like that story is too good not to tell.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I
And
appreciate that.
we need sitcoms.
Yeah, yeah.
They kind of
They're
died
dying
off the
out. I
last 10
know.
years.
I know. It's true, they have. And sitcoms are very much they're more of an American television kind of
They
thing. Like
are.
we don't have three camera kind of setups here in Canada. It's usually these one camera, single camera, which is also a sitcom, but like that standard classic sitcom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of an American thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I
Yeah.
grew up on sitcom. Everybody did. I mean,
Everybody did.
they're
Yeah, it
great.
was
Yeah.
so big. And then, we've lost some of the big ones the last several
Mhm.
years, and we haven't really got anything to replace them yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course, that takes time. It
It takes
takes
time.
time for stuff to
Yeah.
establish and all that.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you've got a new show.
I do.
It's like next week it starts, right?
It is. Yeah. Tuesday. It's 1 week today. Yeah.
Yeah,
Opening
yeah.
night.
So tell us
Tuesday.
about that. What's this one about?
Okay.
And this is like your fifth different show, right?
This is my fifth show. Yeah. So while I was doing, Cancer Can't Dance like this, I was also creating a number of other solo comedy specials that had nothing to do with cancer because, I wanted to also just
Well, you
like,
don't want to just be the cancer comic.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. You want to, I'm still a comedian who has opinions about other
That's right.
things. And, I wanted to share those stories and that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is my fifth comedy special. It's called Ruined. And it's all about how my my Italian immigrant parents ruined my childhood.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, but it's obviously very tongue in cheek when I say ruined. It's all the kind of humorous stories that happened when I was a kid. Mostly my father and just the way that they approached life, which when you're a second generation, Italian, you have these immigrant parents everyone else is being raised differently. There's all these like, Canadian kids, and you just sort of want to be like them, but
Right.
you're being raised in this very traditional, like Italian way. So there's a lot of humor there. And I always incorporated my cultural background, like my Italianness in a lot of my other shows.
Yeah.
Like it's always there. There's always something there. It's a big part of who I am. But this time I just really wanted to put the spotlight on this kind of idea that what it's like for kids of immigrant parents.
Yeah. No, I love it. It's kind of timely at the moment
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So you got your parents to accept the fact that you're a comedian. How'd they
Mhm.
do when you started joking about them?
They oddly eat it up. They love it, I think.
I
I
think I'd
mean,
be that way too if one of the kids
yeah,
was telling
like
jokes.
if I think if
I'd
my
kind of like,
daughter, like I have a daughter now, she's 4. If she grew up and she started doing comedy about her dad and all his and me and all my weirdness, I'd love it, I think,
yeah.
and I think they just sort of they laugh at it. It's not like we don't talk to them about it in to
Yeah,
their face.
you don't like bring them to a show and then surprise them with
Yeah, they're not like, what? I never did that. No, they know all these stories, right? So they're very and they've come to all my shows. They're very supportive. in that sense. So, um, they love it. My mom is always challenging me though. She's like, I dare you to make fun of me. She's like, nobody will laugh when you're making fun of your mother. And I'm like, okay,
Let's find out.
we'll see. Yeah, we're gonna find out. So, yeah. But yeah, the show opens on Tuesday and it runs until Saturday, October 4th. We're already sold out though for the
Right.
Saturday, the fourth show. But there's still tickets from Tuesday to Thursday, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah,
Not for long.
yeah, I
Once they
know.
see this,
No,
they're going to be gone.
I know. I know. Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah.
Have you ever got up on stage and it just didn't go well? Maybe you didn't bomb, but it didn't go well.
Honestly, yeah, of course. I mean, I usually prepare pretty well.
Yeah.
Like I try to really prepare and really make sure that that kind of stuff doesn't happen. But like I do a lot of when I do open mics, who knows, right? Because you're just trying stuff out. And
Yeah.
a lot of times you're doing it in front of like five or six people. And so everything just feels like it doesn't work, right? And you're just like,
Right. Oh,
oh,
yeah. I
okay.
guess if it's a small crowd,
Small crowd
even if
and
they're
just
kind of chuckling a little, you
yeah,
wouldn't.
you don't really get much feedback. So you're like,
Yeah.
okay. And even like with this show specifically, a lot of this material I have not tried out in front of an audience. Like it's like writing a play and rehearsing it ad nauseum and then presenting it to an audience and hoping it's funny, and I'm just trusting my instincts but there are things in there that like maybe on Tuesday I'm like, wow, that didn't work. And by Saturday, it'll be gone, like
Do
it just
you
won't.
do you test those out on anybody ahead of time?
A little bit, a little bit. Sometimes I will just do an open mic and say,
Yeah.
hey, you know what? I just want to test it. Even if I get any sort of reaction, like that the concept is good, then I'm like, okay, I got something here and I'll work on it and it should be good for the show. But this show in particular, it's mostly been a good friend of mine, Chris Siddiqui. He's another comedian in
Yeah.
Toronto. He's looked over the script, just trying to like make sure, if anything seems really crazy off, helps punch it up a little bit. And
Yeah.
my wife, I've been running it in front of her. She's going to be running like the show
Well,
itself.
she's been doing it for so long. She's probably a
Yeah.
pretty good audience to run
Yeah.
it.
She's seen me perform a million times. So she knows when I'm off, like when I'm not on, like when I'm, you know, uh, what's the word? Going half ass, I guess. Can I
Yeah.
say that? I don't know. And then, so she'll remind me like, no, you gotta like take it up or bring it down or slow it down or speed it
Yeah.
up. Like, so she's very good with that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. I
Yeah.
got I got to see Sarah Silverman perform like at an open mic, and like she was legit just testing material. Like she just showed up. They let her get up there for 5 or 10 minutes, and she
Yeah.
had cue cards,
Ah,
and she's reading, and some of them were pretty funny. Some of them were kind of duds, but she was
yeah.
like legit. Just she was marking stuff out as she was.
Yeah.
I was like, I've never seen that before.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's legit working it out in front of an audience.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it depends on the size. That's what over the years, I learned that, open mics and those kind of things, that's what it's for. It's for,
Yeah.
working out your material and building it to then present in front of a larger audience.
Yeah.
And however you have to do that, hey, cue cards, great, do
Yeah.
it.
I mean, yeah, whatever. And
Yeah.
well, and there's at some point you're funny. So if you want to come work on something, come
Yeah.
work on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
Exactly.
it
Yeah.
wouldn't be like a blow to your confidence or anything if stuff didn't work out.
No, no, because I've also, I've been there, I've done it so much that it's like, oh, I know why that didn't work out.
Right.
Like you just sort of are like, yeah, yeah, I was going for something and yeah, it's just not right. It's not working. It happens with I don't think there's any comedian that can just go up and just kill for, an hour without any sort of, you
This
know.
is a little off topic, but on topic with the fact that your special is going to be about your growing up with immigrant
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah.
With that, does Canada struggle with the immigration
You know,
like we are here in the States?
okay,
Now we struggle. My opinion is we struggle. It's our own like we put the struggle on ourselves for
Yeah, yeah,
some
yeah.
reason. You
Yeah,
know, we are
for
kind of
sure.
founded on people coming to this country, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not anymore.
But
Yeah.
does Canada deal with that?
Well, look, I mean, same kind of thing. We're much smaller, right? We're about 10
Yeah.
times less the population. Canada has always prided itself on the fact that we are this mosaic of multiculturalism and
I thought
like,
we did that here too.
well, yeah, exactly, right. And like immigration was what built this country, right?
Yeah.
And everybody is of some sort of ancestry from somewhere else and the immigration. But lately, there's been a lot of pushback on that. There's been a lot of like, hey, start closing you know, close the doors because you're letting too many in, and they're, it's going back to this like rhetoric of like, I don't know,
Yeah,
like,
it's disappointing. I was kind of hoping it was just us. So
yeah, well, me too. I was hoping that too, but no, it has been kind of a little more of it. Like you've been hearing more and more rumblings of that kind of like, you know, of that stuff, which is usually unheard of in Canada. But
well, I've always been of the mind if somebody's coming here, more than likely they're getting away from a situation that wasn't good for
yeah,
whatever reason.
for whatever reason, yeah,
And they're
yeah,
coming here trying to start something new, which is kind of the whole, we were founded on that.
yeah, yeah.
So if you're coming
Bring,
over
bring
and
us your
doing,
poor, your weak,
yeah, if
your
you're
sick,
if you're
whatever.
doing your
Yeah,
thing, do your thing. As
yeah.
long as you're not hurting anybody else, which the majority are not. So,
I know. I know. You got to explain that to,
I know, I know.
a
Without
lot of
going,
them.
I didn't want to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
too
yeah, yeah,
far
yeah.
into it, but
No,
I
that's
was
all
just curious
right.
because you hear so much about the issues that we're having.
Sure.
I haven't really heard too much with Canada along those lines.
Well, and because Canada has always been able to kind of hide under the spotlight of, or in the shadows of what America is doing, right? You
Yeah.
guys take on a much bigger platform, so you're not paying too much attention to what's going on up here for sure, and which is understandable. But you know, we have the same issues up here,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
on a smaller
But I
scale.
guess in some ways it doesn't surprise me. We're
Yeah,
in this corner of the world together.
yeah,
I
yeah, 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 yeah,
think we
exactly.
might have similar struggles.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
Well, so with the show coming out next week, does that, like when you're in the middle of a comedy thing, does that put the acting just on hold, or do you have to work around it?
Well, you try to work around it as much as you can. My agents are still, putting me out for auditions and
Yeah.
stuff, but I also have to say, hey, look, during that week,
Yeah, you can't do much that week, I would
can't do
think.
too much that week, but I can, still shoot the odd audition here and there and hope to
Yeah.
get work.
Well, it
So
probably
when,
helps you doing the self tapes now where you don't have to go somewhere.
exactly, yeah, it's a lot easier to turn around. It's quicker. It's
Yeah.
so yeah, no, still working and while I'm rehearsing and preparing for this show, like because my wife and I were producing the show as well, and so it's a lot of work. It just
Yeah.
becomes the focus, and this week leading up, starting on today, even it's just like, okay, here's the push now. Now we're really
How
going
many
full.
times, like when you're preparing, do you
Mhm.
go over it? Do you run through it every day? I mean, how often do you go through it?
Right now, I'm doing two a days basically. So I
Yeah.
try to do like a quick read, which is called an Italian. I do an Italian, just very, very fitting. And then I'll do a full on performance of it. Like how would I do it on the day with all the cues? We run it, run it top to bottom kind of thing. And then I really won't fully be able to run it until I'm in the space, and
Yeah.
I'm not in the space until Monday. And that's when we're gonna like do all the tech and make sure all the lights look good and the sound is working. And then
All
I'll
the
try
stuff.
to, yeah, I'll try to run it on
I mean,
Tuesday.
do you actually get up on? I've never thought of this, but do you get up on stage at that point and try to figure out where the best place to stand and
Yeah.
where you're walking, all that stuff, or is that like you do
For
that
the
later?
most part, I mean, a lot of times if you have a studio that you can like tape out the stage and
Yeah.
really like make it feel as much like the actual stage that you're going
Yeah.
to be performing on, you can do a lot of that. But until you're in the space with the actual lights, with the sound, with the props, with everything set in place, you really don't know what it's going to feel like until you're there. So Tuesday
Right.
night is going to be an interesting night. It's always fun because it's like, hey, everything's for the first time. Basically,
That's
it's
right.
all new, and but I'm going to be as prepared as I can be, and
Well, and
then
the audience is
you know,
usually kind of forgiving with that. If there's
yeah,
a few little things,
yeah. It's like, oh,
not a big
he
deal.
dropped his prop or something. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
because
Well,
I didn't
yeah.
know where it was, you know. Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, yeah. But that's what's exciting about live theater too.
Where do your jokes come from? Is it like, does stuff just hit you, or do you sit down and like, I'm going to write jokes?
So when I'm preparing for a show, the jokes just hit me. I'm
Yeah.
constantly thinking of anything that I think is funny and that I could turn into a joke. And it's not forced. I'm not like, forcing it, but I could be walking down the street and, I could see a real estate sign and I see the picture of the real estate agent and in my head I'm like, what was that photo shoot like, And then I'll just sort of like start to, have fun with that and
So
see
what
if
do
I
you
can
do
turn it.
with it once you come up with, like, if you're just walking and you come up with that? Do you put it on your phone? Do you write it down? What?
So at first, I'll try to run it through my head enough times that I remember it.
Yeah.
And then I'll put it on my phone as a one sentence thing, real estate agent photos on whatever. And then if I think it's good enough to work, I'll start I'll start working it out. But that's a process. And so on my phone, I have a bunch of like one-liners of
Yeah.
you know. And then I'll look back, and sometimes it'll be like a month, and I'll look back at it and I'll be like, what the heck was this? Like, what was I thinking? I don't know if you've seen that episode of Seinfeld
Well,
where
that's what
he's
I was
like,
just going to mention.
he's like,
He's like, at the end of it, he's like, well, that's not funny.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's like, and that happens a lot. Yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah. And I've learned that you have to they say cut your darlings, basically, which is like these things that you're like, oh no, this is funny. But then you realize it's not, and just let it go. Do the next thing.
That's
Like
probably not easy though.
it's not easy. I'm still cutting things for the show. Like last night, I had this epiphany. I was like, I gotta cut that. That's not gonna work. And so I'm just gonna cut it. I'm not even gonna try it. Like, you know what I mean? Like I just know that it's not worth trying and it failing because it's not gonna be a successful enough joke anyway. So it's like, just just cut it,
Have
you
you
know?
ever done a set where you just run through all the jokes that you were afraid to do because you didn't think they'd work?
Yeah, yeah, I have. But there's some nights that people host nights where they're like, this is test out your material night, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, I'm gonna try all the crappy
Right.
jokes
To see.
that I have. Let's see if any of these things stick to the wall. And you'll find like, yeah, one or two of them, worked. And like I did one on one night. I was like, I don't know, as I tried it out, and they loved it. The feedback was, yeah, this is great. Do more of that. So it's actually in the show, like it's going in the show on Tuesday. Hopefully it goes over well. So we'll see. Yeah.
Those people lied to me.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly.
You got a chance. I grew up listening to comedy albums. You got to do an album,
Yeah.
which is pretty exciting, I think, because I'm assuming you
Hmm.
grew up that way too, kind of listening to albums or
Yeah,
tapes or whatever.
I'd watch a lot of those specials for sure. Obviously, Eddie Murphy was hugely influential, I think, to a lot of kids my generation.
I still
Yeah.
remember going to Raw. I took my high school
Oh, really?
girlfriend, and we
Yeah.
were definitely not old enough to go to Raw yet.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah.
It
No,
was a hilarious and uncomfortable date.
yeah, 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 for sure. But I think a lot of comedians, especially in my generation, our generation, they really um, pinpoint that,
Yeah.
special as one that was just like influential and kind of got them inspired to do it, or Richard Pryor's kind of stuff, or
That's the two I think you hear the most is Eddie Murphy
yeah.
and Richard Pryor. I always liked Robin Williams at the Met.
Oh
I
yeah,
thought was
Robin
so
Williams.
good,
Yeah.
but there's a few that are just. I always thought if you've ever seen Tim Allen stand up,
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
really funny.
Tim Allen was very funny. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of great comedians like that had a really good. Remember Jeff Foxworthy? He had
Oh, of
that, like
course,
he crushed it with
yeah,
what, like, and think about what he was doing, right? It was a cultural, like for him, it was like culturally like significant,
yeah, yeah. Oh,
you're a
he's very
redneck.
popular in West Virginia. I
Yeah,
can
no,
tell
for
you that.
sure. But like
Still,
because it's relatable though, right? And people relate to those kind of like, truths, but he's obviously joking. He's being like,
yeah, yeah.
he's taking it to the next level. But like it it built a huge audience for himself, you know.
Oh my gosh, he was a monster there for a while.
Monster. Yeah. Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
could still be. I'm
Yeah.
just assuming he's choosing to just lay back now.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah. You know, he's like, look, I've recorded every one like those jokes, like you can watch it, whatever. But but yeah, no, I mean, so many good comedians out there.
Is there
Like
is there a comedian today that you would
mhm.
like to go see live?
I mean, I have okay, so Sebastian Maniscalco was a
Yeah.
big one for me, and I got to go see him live at Casino Rama. I think he was at the end of his tour though, so he was like tired.
He's done with it.
But he was really good, even for being like kind of like, where am I? I'm in like the middle of nowhere doing this. Like anyway, but he was great. But uh and this is I mean this is obviously controversial as all heck, but I before any of the controversy, I
Yeah.
went and saw Bill Cosby
Oh,
live.
really?
And this
Well,
is
yeah, I
why,
was such a fan
yeah, you know, yeah,
growing
me
up.
too.
His
Yeah.
himself was the
Yeah.
album that I listened to all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean,
We
obviously,
we had tickets
yeah.
for the when he came through West Virginia. We had tickets, and that's just when all that stuff came out,
Yeah.
and we were
Yeah.
too uncomfortable to go.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so,
Totally.
so we sent the kids who had
Oh,
the
man.
best time. And here's
Oh, crazy,
they
crazy.
because they didn't know, they were still
Yeah,
middle school age probably,
sure,
but they
sure.
went, got brought up to the front row,
Oh my
so
gosh.
they saw Bill Cosby from the front row. Probably had just a terrific time.
Yeah, yeah,
But then, of course,
yeah.
a few years
It's
later, they're like, why'd you send us to that?
yeah. It's like, well, we didn't want to go.
I was like, well, we already got the tickets. I was like,
Uh,
nobody's going to say anything about kids going.
kids, yeah, yeah. You go. You don't know what's going on. This is
But
great.
hey, he's so funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an it's one of those like obviously
Kind of a
things.
tragedy to me. I didn't.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah,
But yeah, but I mean, you can't deny who your influences were, right?
that's
Like,
right.
and, there's and for me, it was the storytelling. I'm a huge
Yeah,
storytelling fan. I love telling stories, and that was he was obviously a big part of that. So yeah,
yeah. He always talked about the one I like, and you've probably heard this one, the where he's playing football, and if you get hurt on a football field, you're not supposed to grab certain areas when you're on
yeah,
TV.
yeah,
So he talked about getting hit,
yeah, yeah,
and being, and the pain was tremendous. So I
yeah,
grabbed my head.
yeah. And he was always clean. I mean, that was his big thing too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's not too many like that anymore.
yeah. Birbiglia is pretty clean. Oh no, Brigazzi is pretty
Yeah.
clean.
Yeah. We're going to
Yeah,
see him in October. I think he's
yeah, he's
coming through.
great.
And he's pretty. We went to Netflix as a joke
Hmm.
in LA. They had where
Hmm.
it's like the whole city, every venue had a different comedian, and
Yeah.
we went and saw David Letterman, and he did it like his old talk show. So
Hmm.
he came out, he did a monologue, and then he brought Nate out and interviewed him as the guest. And that
Yeah,
was,
that's
it
cool.
was pretty great.
Yeah. I mean, those are great comedians too. And like modern comedians that I like watching now are, be Maniscalco and Birbiglia and Brigazzi. And I also am a big fan of Bill Burr. And
Oh, Bill Burr's
yeah, yeah.
I like him
Yeah.
because he's just honest about it.
Yeah, that's what I love. And I wish I could, a lot of times I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to do some kind of like Bill Burr style stuff, but I just don't have the
No,
like,
you have to have that. Just has to be you. I
it
think
has to be you. You
you can't
can't
fake it.
force it, can't fake it. Yeah, yeah. And so he has that ability to just be like, yeah, this is who I am. Whatever. It's
That's right.
fine.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. He doesn't care.
He's a pretty good actor too.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I saw that movie that he was in. Can't remember. It's like adults or parents or
Yeah,
something
something
like
like that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty good.
oh, yeah, it's good.
Pretty good. Pretty
Yeah.
good. So we talked a little bit about maybe you doing a sitcom at some point, but is there like an acting role that you would like to do, whatever genre?
I'd love to be, I'd love to be in my own situational comedy for sure. Like, I'd love to be the dad on a comedy series or something
Seems
like
like
that.
that would be just a no-brainer. Just put you
Yeah,
in.
Yeah, gotta get in there. I don't know, it's they just don't see it yet.
I'm gonna make some calls.
Yeah, you make some calls. I'll call my
I'll
people.
see
You
what
call
I
yours.
can get.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it. I love it.
We're
But
getting calls from this podcaster in West Virginia. He will not leave us alone.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So you get a show.
yeah, exactly. Uh, I also like
Also,
dramas, though. I'm a big, big, big fan of dramas too. Like
I think you'd be well. Obviously, that's
uh,
that you've been cast in some dramas. I think you'd be really good in that role,
mhm.
and you probably would make a good police officer.
Yeah, or a bad guy. I kind of want to play a bad
Well,
guy.
bad guy wouldn't be bad. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be all right.
it's that guy that everybody hates.
I mean, you
Hate,
could
I hate
do
that guy.
the Dennis Leary is always doing shows where he's a fireman or a police officer, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and they're still
yeah.
funny.
Oh, Dennis Leary, another great comedian from my day.
He did that. Everybody loves Rescue Me, but he actually had a police show that was basically the same show that he
Oh,
did before Rescue Me, and it was really good. It just
uh,
didn't get it didn't take off.
attraction. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like Rescue. And then he switched to Firefighter, and there it went.
There you go. Well, there's a lot of shows like that where you just never even knew that they existed, right? Or somebody,
Yeah,
they just kind of live and die and that's it. But
that's it. One
yeah,
and done.
that's it. Yeah. Total.
What's next after the show's done next week?
Mhm.
What's next for you?
So currently, my wife and I, we have a production company. It's called You and Me Entertainment,
Huh.
and we produce a lot of short films. And
Oh,
we have a couple that are going into festivals. So we'll be at a festival in London, Ontario, for one of our short films, and then another one in Toronto in October as well for another one. And they're continuing to make that kind of like go
well,
through
I
the
saw that you
circuit.
did a lot of short.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
we've been doing more and more production and being behind the scenes a little bit more than
Yeah.
in front of the
Is the
camera.
goal
And
to eventually do like a full length
oh
something?
yes, yeah, yeah, feature is kind of the goal for sure. And we're working our way towards that. It's just finding the right script and the right team to work with and financing. That's the
Yeah.
biggest thing. You need money to do
Well, I
something.
love that because most of your stuff is self-generated.
Yeah,
You
a
know,
lot of
you're
it. Yeah, yeah.
you're bringing this stuff up. Of course, you got to get somebody to bite on it, but
Mhm.
that seems to me a lot easier way to get in than just waiting for somebody to offer you something.
Yeah, that's it. It's that waiting for the cavalry, right? And
Yeah.
or make your own stuff and then see what happens. I find that when I'm busying myself and my wife as well with our own work, more work kind of comes.
Yeah.
And then, and you're sharpening your tools. You're
Well, that's right.
practicing the craft at all times. So you're ready, you're more sharp, and then that
Well,
audition
that's
comes
always
in.
how it works.
Yeah.
Whenever you're busiest,
Hmm.
that's when everything piles on, good and
Yeah,
bad.
totally. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's
So
if you're working, that's
yeah.
when more work comes along. When you've got nothing and you just
Mhm.
need somebody to kind of swoop in and save you,
Yeah, no, you're going to be
you're
waiting
going to
by
be
the
waiting
phone.
a while.
Yeah, waiting by the phone. Yeah. So, yeah, we've always had that mindset. And I think we learned that actually at university, like make your own work, make your own work.
You just
And
had that TIFF just went on a couple weeks ago.
yeah, 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 yeah. So we were at TIFF with another short film that we produced. That was not this last TIFF, but the TIFF before.
Yeah,
And that was awesome. I mean, that opened up a lot of doors for us as
festival
a production
circuit's
company.
kind of fun. You
It
can
is, yeah. If you can go and you can be a part of it, it's
yeah
great. And TIFF was amazing. We're in Toronto. We got to experience the whole festival, like top to bottom, and it was a great experience. It was amazing. It was amazing.
yeah that's awesome. I,
Yeah.
I love it. We got to go to Sundance. Unfortunately, it was in 2020, which
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
fine, but it's like a few
Yeah,
days after we got home, they shut everything down.
that's right.
But
Yeah.
Sundance was amazing. It surprised me how small of a space. It's like just a
Hmm.
couple blocks.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And then
A
you
couple
got
theaters, and then that's
yeah,
it.
that's it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah,
and then it's just thousands of people packed
yeah,
in
yeah.
that stuff. But it's fun to experience at least once. I think.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
cool. I didn't realize you were. I saw that you were doing a bunch of shorts, but I assumed that was just you were doing those with other people to try to improve your
Yeah.
acting with that. I
Well,
didn't
and
realize
there's
you
a
were
couple of
producing.
those as well where
Yeah.
I've acted in a few
Yeah.
shorts as well where, yeah. take the jobs, take the work, and get better at what you're doing. You know.
How about on the book front? Any desire to revisit that?
Well, I mean, I definitely don't want to write a sequel
Right.
to um, but the book's been doing great. You know, it's something that, you know, to this day people just like call me and be like, "Hey, how do I get a copy of your book?" I'm like, "Hey, go on Amazon and grab a copy. It's everywhere. It's on Indigo. It's Amazon. There's tons of different places where you can get it. Um, and it'll always be there. You know, the
Yeah.
story is always there now, and it's written. Yeah, you know,
How
like
long did it take you to write it?
well, it's a bit of a story. I won't get too much into it, but like I kind of started writing it when I got
When you got sick?
sick,
Yeah.
and then it kind of just sat there collecting dust. And then when the pandemic happened, I revisited it. I
Oh, you
also,
used your time wisely.
yeah, you know, well, because you're sitting on your couch, like, you know, so when I
I
could,
know
I
it was
would,
great for like 2 weeks and then got old fast.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So, but also I went to New York and I did an intensive with Upright Citizens Brigade,
Yeah.
and I had like 8 hours to kill in the middle of winter in New York City. So I'd go to like the New York Public Library, and I would sit there and just type while listening to like old school hip hop. I'm like, like it was really weird. But I ended up flushing out a lot of the story, and then again, it sat there for a little bit, and then the pandemic happened, and I was like, well, yeah, what do I, you
You
know,
might as well knock it out.
let's knock it out. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's probably a better use of your time than, say, learning to make bread.
Yeah, which I also did.
Yeah,
Uh,
we all did.
yeah, sourdough. I got the starter, everything. Yeah. I was like, this is, yeah.
So I said there was a couple weeks there. I was like, this isn't so bad. I'm doing my
Yeah.
little Zoom cocktail hours and
Yeah. Yeah.
making bread.
Playing
And then
poker
it's
with my
just like
buddies.
it just kept
Yeah.
going on. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I know. I remember. Yeah. It was crazy.
When
Like,
like there's so much on TV to watch, we still ran out of stuff to watch.
oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah. I was watching Tiger King. What was that one? That was a
We
big,
all
yeah.
watched that.
Oh, everybody watched that. That's the
And I'll
best.
have to admit, it was entertaining.
It was great. It was great.
Although I never went back for part two.
No, I know, no.
Yeah.
I didn't either. I didn't
I
either.
have
It was
no
just
idea
weird.
what happened to the Tiger King.
Yeah. I think he's in jail. I don't know.
I think he's still there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Daniel, thank you for taking a little bit of time. This has been terrific.
I really appreciate it.
The show is ruined, and
Yeah.
it's out starting. Well, you started Tuesday, and it runs through the weekend next week.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. It's going to be at the Theater Center in Toronto. 1115 Queen Street West.
Are you recording it, or will it be
Yeah,
released?
we're gonna record it and I think try to show snippets of it, if
Yeah.
anything. You know, live theater or live, you know, shows are always sometimes they're hit and miss when you record it,
Right.
right? It's like one of those things, if you're there, you really experience it. And all of a sudden you film it and you're like, oh, that's weird. Unless you have a really good setup.
Right.
So we are yeah, we're gonna film it and we're gonna share elements of it on social media. So, you know, follow me at Stolfi Comedy, and you'll see stuff there, or on YouTube, You and Me Entertainment or Daniel Stolfi, and
Yeah.
it'll be there. Yeah,
Terrific. Well, Daniel, open invitation. When the next thing comes along,
cool.
please
Appreciate
come
it.
back.
I will. I appreciate it, and
We'll be
congrats
looking
on.
for you. You need to maybe tour the states. We'll come out.
Yeah, for sure. That's up next for sure. Congrats on all your success too. So,
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you so much.
yeah,
Yeah, it was unexpected.
yeah.
My son and I started this and just did it as a way to spend time together. And 2020, honestly, is what helped
Mhm.
us because nobody
Yeah.
told us no. Everybody
Yeah.
was home. So
Yeah.
they're like, okay.
Sure. Yeah.
So it took off unexpectedly, but
That's cool.
it's been terrific. Had the
Right
best
on.
time.
Right on. Right.
Yeah, which is the whole point.
That's
If
right.
you're doing something you hate, stop doing it.
That's right. That's right. I agree.
All right, Daniel, hold on.
All right. Okay.
Comedian Daniel Stolfi. The show is ruined. This West Virginia accent. It's terrible sometimes, but starts on Tuesday the 30th, runs through October the 4th. If there's still a few tickets available for those early week shows. My preference would be to go opening night. So if you get a chance, I definitely suggest that. Keep an eye out for Daniel, because he does, he does travel a little bit. He does some shows, so keep an eye out for him. He is hilarious. Yeah, it's we talked a lot about different comedians that we liked. He's definitely on that list for me. And I was telling him off camera, if he tours the States, Emily and I will try to come out and see him, because he's definitely worth your time, and a pretty talented actor too. I know he's just kind of getting started there, but I really believe if he gets the chance to do a sitcom, any type of show, he's a good actor, but I really think a sitcom where he's doing kind of his comedy, but in a sitcom type of role, I think it'd be hilarious. I really do think, Tim Allen basically did that and turned it into Home Improvement. Those shows can work. They can also not work. There's been plenty of those, but I don't know, something with Daniel and his story and the kind of the way he presents and come across, I think it would do really well and be funny. So my 2 cents. The book is called The Comedian versus Cancer. Really, really excellent book, according to my mother, who I do, especially with reading material. I trust her opinion. She has turned me on to a lot of good books over the course of my life. He's got an album out called I'm Doing My Very Best. If you get a chance, pick that one up. It is terrific. I think I talked about everything I wanted to. The only one I didn't mention was he played Constable Ripley on the Frankie Drake mysteries, and it was on several episodes of that one. But everything else I think we touched on. Definitely keep your eye out for Daniel. I think he's been doing this for a little while, but I think he's getting ready to take that next step. So let's help him do that. If you're finding us for the first time, I'm thrilled that you're here. Thank you so much. Love to have your support. Easy to do. It's free. We never ask for any money. Our website's meistercon.com. You can find over 1,000 episodes, audio and video versions. If we're doing anything in studio, if we're covering a convention, if we're going on location, if we're going out to see Daniel's comedy act, anything we have going on, be on the website, meistercon.com. So please check us out there. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Please subscribe. It's free. Really helps us out. Those subscriptions really help us to continue to bring on these terrific guests. I think last count, we were around 1,100 or so different people that we have spoke to. So that seems like a big number to me. We're very blessed with that. So YouTube, MeisterCon Pod. Thank you guys so much. Till next time. Bye, everybody.